The Lord promised better things for us, okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, has a favorite people. And he's going to give this favorite people a heavenly kingdom. A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he would want a kingdom to be.
Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The Lord promised better things for us, okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, has a favorite people. And he's going to give this favorite people a heavenly kingdom. A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he would want a kingdom to be.
I want to get paid to learn how to code, but I don't want to go to school for computer science.
Well, let me tell you what you need. You need...
For centuries, the Roman military...
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Shah, pushing to get up out of here. So I want to hopefully the believers or listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Shah. What I want to get into again this morning, this afternoon, now, is to get into, this scripture in the book of Psalm 75 and really go into the aspect of how the Most High setteth up kingdoms and he pulled down kingdoms. And one thing we have to understand, within prophecy, when it's time for a particular kingdom to go down and another one to come up, the Lord will have events happening in the earth that lead directly to the Lord's will being playing out of a certain kingdom going down and another one coming and standing in its place. Today we will call it, geopolitics, okay? Or we will call innovative, different innovative tactics that the Lord would allow particular nations, to obtain, to have an advantage, in the earth to fulfill prophecy. Okay. So, we're going to go into these things, from the aspect, and Lord will, we can make a series out of it. This time we're going to deal with Rome, but Lord willing, with other installments, we'll deal with other empires and how the Lord, will make moves in the earth, to fulfill prophecy. And ultimately, this is a faith boost to know, that the Lord is making moves now to fulfill prophecy of bringing down Esau and bringing up Jacob. Okay. And that's through Yahweh Shai. All right. So I'm gonna start out with a few precepts, and then I got a video, I want to get into, we'll go from there. So we're dealing with, we're going to deal with Rome. All right. With this installment. Now, let's share the Bible real quick. All right. So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 75. Okay. And 4, it's Psalm 75 and 4. It says, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked lift not up the horn. Okay. So this is addressing, okay, rulers of the earth, and ultimately the wicked, which is Esau Edom, because he's in his mind, Esau Edom is in power because of his prowess, of his IQ, and as if he's he's self-appointed. Okay, Esau Edom moves as if he's self-appointed within rulership, but nah, he was placed there. Okay, but he has become proud, within his rulership. Okay, verse 5 said, lift not up your horn, which is your power, on high, speak not with a stiff neck. And this is what Esau Edom does. He exalts himself, he boasts, within his power and authority, in the earth, and the scripture tell him not to do that. His neck has become stiff because he doesn't want to listen to any reasoning that's dealing with righteousness, man. Okay, he's stubborn in his wickedness, man. All right, but he's built to be that. Okay, it said, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and set up another. You see, because the Lord is the one that's moving the chess pieces, all right, on the earth, in the earth, okay, to establish prophecy, man, to set up one and put down another, okay. And this is what we're seeing happening real time now, and it's always been like that, man. Okay, so let's go here to Daniel the 7th chapter. Okay. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7. All right, verse 7. And it says, and after this, I saw in the night vision and beheld a fourth beast. And this is speaking of that pagan Roman Empire. It said, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, man. And this is the military might, okay, of the Roman Empire, man. Which is legions were known for being devouring, during battle, man. Okay. Rome had the advantage of a particular iron, that they would use, that was superior, to the weaponry, of that time. Okay. And it says it devoured and break in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, because it didn't run off a monarchy. It ran off a senate, it ran off elected officials. Okay. And they run off the monarchy, the previous, beast, the Babylonian, Syrian, empire, the Syrian Babylonian empire, and you have the Medo-Persian empire and the Greeks. Okay, but this one was diverse in a way, all right, that his government was administered, through elected officials. Okay, the plebeians and the patricians. Okay, and it says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before, and it had 10 horns. Now, those 10 horns, all right, represent vassal states. Now, I want to go here just to show, these vassals that was, allied with the pagan Roman Empire, just to show what a vassal is. Now, and you go here to just real quick what a vassal state is, and it was basically those 10 horns, those 10 families, that was in alliance, those 10 ruling families, those different ruling families that was in alliance, all right, with the Roman, okay, with the sovereign Roman government, man. Okay, it says, what is a vassal of Rome? It says vassal is a medieval term which applies to feudalism. The Roman Empire had provinces that were part of a bureaucracy of Roman administration and client states, which were ruled by native dynasties. Okay, those different families. Okay, that was loyal, and under, all right, tribute of the Roman Empire. It said ruled by native dynasties, but paid tribute to Rome in exchange for military assistance. Okay, so you will pay tribute pretty much. A vassal would be the what they call extortion today. You will pay them for protection, the way the mob, would do today. Okay, the Roman Empire was like a big mob. Okay, you paid them to keep, them off you. Then you will pay them, to protect you, man. The same way America does today. Trump had made the statement, to the Saudi prince. He was like, look, if we take our protection off you, you won't last, 2 weeks over there. Okay. So letting you know that, hey, this is Rome all over again. All right. This new Rome has vassals, just like that pagan, Roman Empire did. Okay. Yeah, so let's go from there. And I want to get this video, okay, dealing with, how those legions, train, just to show you that when the Lord, when prophecy is with you, you pretty much are operating on a whole nother frequency to fulfill prophecy, man. Okay, and these Roman legions, they were tough, man, because prophecy had to be fulfilled. So let's go here.
For centuries, the Roman military was feared for its reputation of glory, as it boasts one of the highest win-to-loss ratios of any army in history. This was at core due to their very complex and intricate military system that was developed from centuries of trial and sole goal of nations, and this applied not only to training but also the very selection and recruitment of soldiers. Today, I will go over the particular qualities the Romans looked out for and preferred when choosing recruits, as well as the many training methods they highly relied upon. This video will be specifically based on the system of the early Roman Empire, which was arguably the peak of Roman military dominance. Many, such as Vegetius, go as far as to believe that one of the biggest reasons for the Roman Empire's deterioration was due to them straying away from this very strict level of recruitment and training.
And for brother can post, there's no new thing under the sun, because as you can see, he says the peak, of Rome's military powers in the beginning, but then as they got less strict, on recruitment, the military started to fall. Which is the same thing we see today. You got the women, within the military. All right, you have transformers in the military, man. That's the strict standard of military recruitment has fallen. And then I think it's an article, brother can fact check me, where it talks about how 75%, of American men, like 18 to 34, are not even fit for combat, man. you know. So the America, just like ancient Rome, okay, it's pretty much, it doesn't even produce the citizens it needs to defend itself anymore, man. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. But let me read this. This from the brother Corner Wild GMS. Pray always hope for elect. It's Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, "A thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun." So we're seeing, one of the things that deteriorated the ancient, Roman military is deteriorating the modern, Roman military, man. You know, so I'm gonna let it play some more. You brothers feel free to add, precepts, any facts, that you brothers find and know, feel free to add it, to the screen, Baba Shah.
First of all, it's important to understand that the Romans strongly believed that some areas and even nations were better for recruiting than others. Even though every legionary recruit had to be a Roman citizen, they were aware of the effects that climate and culture had on people. Some nations had a more militaristic culture, while others were more concerned with trade. Some people grew up in cities, while others in the countryside. These were the first things that had to be considered when raising a legion. As a general rule, recruits from the countryside were preferred over those from the city because they were more accustomed to the struggles of life from an early age. They also surely knew how to use the many tools that would be used in the army, and their bodies were more used to hunger. These were the men that were preferred, and the Romans always tried to have most of their army recruited from the countryside. Men from the cities were also taken in, but they had to undergo a slightly different program. They were to be trained extra hard in order to be brought into shape. They were also taught to bear the weather, use various tools, and had to be stationed as far as possible from their city so that they forget about its luxuries and comfort. After drawing up the recruits, a careful examination began, with particular emphasis on certain desirable feats. The more obvious ones included a good physical shape and good eyesight, both indicators of a healthy body, good genetics, and a promising soldier. Wide shoulders and a small waist were particularly favored. A height of 5.7 Roman feet was a requirement for all infantry, with anything over that being highly favorable. A strict requirement for a height of 6 Roman feet was set to join the first cohort and cavalry of each legion. But sometimes a lack of height could be compensated with a particularly strong physique. Some of the less obvious feats involved, in the words of Vegetius, the characteristic of lively eyes, which was an indicator that the man was of quick thinking and a quick mind. Good manners as well as a reputable family were indicators of the ability to obey orders and show respect. Interestingly, even sense of humor was taken into account, as having one would imply a positive attitude as well as a capable and healthy mind, both very useful in times of war to uplift the general mood and morale of the army. Literacy was another skill that was looked for. Any soldier that could read and write was given a position to keep records and accounts, sometimes even under the tribunes themselves. As I stated before, the Roman army started to deteriorate throughout the years, and by the time of the late Roman Empire, literate recruits were even immediately considered for the position of centurion, being in charge of 80 men simply due to the ability to read and write. But in the time of the early empire, this was unheard of. The chosen recruits now began their training. This was to be part of their 4-month trial. Those that wouldn't make it would be rejected, while those that passed it would swear a military vow and become legionaries. At no point during this period were recruits taken into battle if they have not completed this trial. The first skill all recruits were taught was the march. This was the most important in their training, and it had many advantageous side effects for the men. By performing synchronized marches, they were taught the importance of coordination and unit cohesion, the very backbone of the Roman way of war. Every week they would perform a long march of 20 Roman miles in just 5 hours, while carrying 60 pounds of equipment on them. They would typically march 10 miles away from the camp, then 10 miles back. Once a while, a forced march was ordered, and the men had to complete 24 Roman miles within the same 5 hours. From their first to last day in the army, the men were constantly taught to maintain straight ranks and a proper distance away from each other, especially when changing formations. They could be ordered to quickly double or triple the depth of the ranks, or form a wedge or a defensive orb formation, all the while maintaining the distance between each other and keeping the ranks straight. This was a lot harder than it might sound, and much practice was needed to perfect this. But no imperial unit would be considered battle-ready without these particular skills. As in today's military, maintaining ranks and marching were the most repeated of their drills. On a larger scale, proper marching also had its benefits, as it allowed the legion to navigate through tough terrain and quickly deploy for battle, all the while maintaining order in case of an unexpected engagement. It also made it harder for men to desert or get lost from their unit. The next skill that was enforced was rather interesting. All recruits, no matter if they were infantry, cavalry, or even servants, were taught to swim. This also had significant uses, the most obvious being the strengthening of countless muscles throughout the body, as well as a built-up immune system for cold weather and disease. The more interesting use for swimming was their techniques of dealing with floods or crossing rivers. I plan to dedicate an entire video solely on the many techniques the Romans used to accomplish this, as many of them were beyond fascinating and truly deserve a video of their own. It is only now that the recruits will begin their real combat training. They will each use a wooden practice gladius and scutum to practice various drills, like quickly sprinting forward to deliver a blow, then quickly lowering back behind the shield, or practicing chains of attack. Despite the gladius's fairly capable ability to slash, the recruits were taught to stab with it instead. This was due to several interesting reasons. Firstly, when performing a stab, less of the arm is exposed to the enemy than if they were to slash with it. Secondly, a stab is a lot more comfortable to perform than a slash in a typical Roman tight formation, as it limits the possibility of wounding fellow soldiers nearby. And thirdly, a slash is more likely to be stopped by armor or bones, making it very difficult to land a lethal blow. With a stab, however, a cut no deeper than 2 inches is more than enough to prove lethal. Furthermore, you wouldn't need a lot of force to perform such a stab, so it saves a lot of energy in combat and is a big factor to why the legions were known to have unrivaled stamina in battle. An interesting fact is that the wooden gladius and scutum that the Romans used for practice would be twice the weight of their original counterparts. This was purposely done to increase muscle growth, as well as comfort, accuracy, and speed when using the originals in real combat. The recruits would train with these several times a day, either with a wooden pole, fellow recruits, or with professional gladiators who were specifically chosen to instruct the recruits.
So what we're seeing, the Lord just has a spirit, on Roman, military leadership to just be extremely elite, okay, for the fulfillment of prophecy, man, so they can be, okay, the devouring, the teeth of iron, man, but we see the behind the scenes, all right, that the Lord has put the spirit, Roman military leadership to just be extremely disciplined, extremely elite, and this what separated, Roman military, from, these surrounding what they call barbarian, heathen militaries, man. This is why they were so tough to deal with, man. Okay. And this is what, the zealots and Sakari, this is who they waged the war with, man. Okay. Super stupid. All right. But everybody got their part, you see? So we're going to keep going into it, but I just thought it was like, damn, you had to do all that marching before you even begin, fighting, like it was crazy, it was extreme, but in the spirit of prophecy, when you have a particular role within the spirit of prophecy, you become extreme, just as we become extreme, with teaching it and learning and researching it, it's because the spirit of prophecy is on us, man. So yeah, we're seeing the spirit of prophecy of the fourth beast, being fulfilled,
The recruits would train in open fields because Romans strongly believed that subjecting yourself to weather raises the immune system and prevents disease and sickness. And so, even during the winter when it didn't snow, they forced their recruits and veterans to train outside. But during especially tough weather, large halls were constructed for shelter. and the training continued inside them. Every man had to learn to throw a javelin. The practice javelins were also significantly heavier than the originals in order to increase both accuracy and the muscles in the shoulders and back. Furthermore, every recruit and legionary constantly practiced using the sling. This is perhaps one of the biggest underappreciated facts about the legions, which is constantly overlooked by modern references. It is a fact that every imperial legionary not only owned, but knew how to effectively use a sling. The weapon was so respected by the Romans and their enemies that it sometimes was thought to be more effective than bows and arrows, as its projectiles are harder to spot and could shatter bones and internal organs just by impact. It was probably a demoralizing fact for Rome's enemies that all 5,000 legionaries of every legion were able to accurately hurl sharpened stones from afar. As if it's not enough, we are told
Every single soldier of a legion, had this skill set. Okay, every single soldier had that skill set, man, with that sling. And it is, hey, when the Lord is with you, you're gonna operate on the elite level, to fulfill His will in the earth, man. You know.
that recruits were trained to use bows either on foot or horseback and practiced them daily. From their system of training, we can imagine just why the legions were so effective. They not only were superbly equipped with the best armor and melee weapons of the age, but also could take on the role of missile troops, each being able to launch deadly javelins at medium range and arrows and stones at long range. And even this is not taking into account all the specialized auxiliary archers and artillery that would be attached to every legion. All cavalry, regardless if they were recruits or veterans, daily practiced vaulting on and off a horse. This skill was very important for the way Roman cavalry operated and fought. The recruits were first taught how to vault without armor, but every combat-ready cavalryman was able to perform a vault while fully armored and even while carrying arms like a shield and spear. This enabled them to skillfully mount on and off a horse in an instant, under unexpected alarms or even mid-battle. As the infantry performed its weekly marches, the cavalry was expected to march with them the same distance, but they were expected to constantly execute small drills while on march, like charging forward only to retreat and regroup back into formation, or practicing various maneuvers and scouting ahead. To get the cavalrymen and horses even more comfortable with each other, they were purposely tasked to march through tough, uneven terrain. It was common, for example, for both infantry and cavalry to perform their weekly marches by scaling mountains. As you could probably tell by now, training was done extensively to both recruits and veterans, the only difference being that veterans were allowed to train for combat only once a day, while the recruits did it more than once, typically in the morning and afternoon. The recruits would also have to dig trenches and collect wood throughout the days. This whole system of training would be very difficult for the recruits, and many would not make it past this initial 4-month trial. Only the performance of the veterans would have shown them that this new way of life was possible and achievable. After completing 4 months of continuous drills, the recruits had to make a military oath and were branded with a symbol on their hands, most probably with a hot iron. This would be their final day.
Wait a minute, so they were branded with a symbol on their hand. Oh boy, to show what? Use a possession, man. There's no new thing under the sun. Okay, let me run that back a little bit. I found that interesting.
Had to make a military oath and were branded with a symbol on their hands, most probably with a hot iron. This would be their final day as recruits, and they could now consider themselves legionaries. But any experienced general would still see them as recruits, as it is one thing to pass the drills and trial, and another to execute them in the chaos of battle and not flee. Nevertheless, these drills were the core of the training that the legionaries repeated for all 20 years of their service. I'd like to give a warm thanks to all my loyal Patreon supporters, as well as all the viewers for watching.
So yeah, man, I thought that was interesting. As we know, dealing with that fourth beast, one of the things that was described, as we'll get it again. No, if a brother can post it, Daniel 7, verse 7, and just see how, the Lord puts a spirit on a particular nation, a particular man, to fulfill, his will. Okay. And a brother can get that too. And it's all built in, building faith for the hope that, okay, the Lord, he has done this for these heathen nations. How much more so us, man? When it's time for us, if we can get that Jeremiah 29 and 8, and let's get Luke 12 and 32. Let's get Isaiah 46 and 10, But yeah, I thought it was interesting how, they was on such an elite level, as far as their training and their standards, for those legions. He wasn't just everybody was trained to go. Jake, like, no, all you guys were trained to go. It's the brother occupied till I come. Daniel 7 and 7 says, after this, I saw in the night visions and beheld a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, man. And we see their strength. Okay. We see how it was strong exceedingly, man. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and break in pieces and stamped, okay, the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So we see, how the Lord set that up for this prophecy to play out, putting the emphasis. It was strong exceedingly, had great iron teeth. He had the superior weaponry. Okay, his iron teeth. Because that would, the teeth of the beast, that would be the thing that was deadly. That would give the kill shot. Is the teeth. The pit bulls as they fight. It's not the paws that do the damage. The teeth that's deadly. They take you out of the. Different, ferocious animals. It'd be the teeth, they take you out, man. They do the most damage. You see, and we know the Roman military was his teeth, man. Okay, and which it devoured. All right, and we see how it got to that point. Okay. I'm gonna say Jeremiah 29 and 11. So like if I say 8, yeah, Jeremiah 29 and 11. Bible Gashai. This is Isaiah 46 and 10. All right, this is the brother GMS prayer. I always hope for elect. It said, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times as things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. So everything that we see that has happened, is happening, will happen is the Lord performing his pleasure in the earth, and the bringing down and setting up of kingdoms is all the Lord's pleasure because it's working towards, his ultimate pleasure, which is to set his sons up, all right, in power, all right, eternally in righteousness, man. What you're going to get real quick. This is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah, Luke 12 and 32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And since it's his pleasure to give us the kingdom, he has us moving in the way in which the Lord is going to be pleased to give us the kingdom, man. He has us being obedient. He has us sacrificing, even to the point, because even, some of the brothers, the believers, they have to be sacrifices that's going to be pleasing unto the Lord. They have to die for this truth. That's going to show, okay, they willing to die for the kingdom, and he's going to cause events to happen to set the kingdom up. He's causing events to happen, man. the camps waking up, the believers waking up, the camps, are constantly evolving in the spirit, you know. You have all this geopolitics of war, and ultimately he's going to send Yahweh Shai back, okay, to conquer the earth in righteousness, man. you know. So just as we see the buildup of the Roman military to perform, to play its part in prophecy, now we're being built up this spiritual army, okay, to perform, all right, prophecy, man. Okay. This is Jeremiah 29:11 said, "For I know the thought that I think toward you, said the Lord, the thoughts of peace and not evil, to give you an expected end." Okay, because all this is leading to the end game of Israel reigning in righteousness. Okay, Yahweh Shai establishing the throne of David, joint heirs. That's why, hey, we're being groomed, we're being conditioned. Just as say those Roman legions was being held to a standard and being conditioned. Okay, we're being held to a standard in the spirit and being conditioned, man. To be part of prophecy, man, to be part of fulfillment of prophecy. So matter of fact, let's end it with that in Ezekiel 37, and yeah, let's get Ezekiel 37 and 10. Matter of fact, start at 9. Yep. Ezekiel 37, 9 and 10. We'll end it there because this is what's happening, man. Okay. The Lord is making his moves in the earth, man. All right. And it's all geared towards the fulfillment, of prophecy. Okay. These are the times that we're in. Like I say, it's a faith booster to see how the Lord would always, make provisions in the earth when it was time for particular prophecy, to be fulfilled. He would set things up in the earth, for prophecy's sake, man. Like I say, we're living in a time of that now. That ultimate transition from Esau, all right, the current rulers of this society, unto Jacob, which is going to be spearheaded by who? Yahweh Shai, coming to wage war and righteousness. You see? Let's see. So this is it in Ezekiel 30, 37. All right, Ezekiel 37 and 9, it says, "Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus said the Lord power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live." And that breath is the Holy Spirit, and as the prophets prophesy, the Holy Spirit is coming upon the elect of his people, and they're living. Okay, and what it will result in. So I prophesied, and he commanded me, and the breath, all right, came into them, that Holy Spirit, which takes us from a dead state in the spirit to living, being alive, being active, okay, and spiritual things, okay. And they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army, okay. And this is what's being informed through teaching, man. Okay. And this is why these daily lessons go out. This is a constant training, in the spirit, you know. So that was the point, I'll leave it there. Lord will, you brothers and you few sisters will edify to the next time and say Shalom. Kwam Yashala, a Bible ball, details soon, Shalom.